I got a call from the station. They want us to investigate some sort of homicide.
You two find the killer.
Something just feels off.
I'm assuming you've come in regard to my sister's husband.
Has your sister ever lashed out or done anything she regretted?
I suppose we've all done things we regret.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for staying up late.
No worries. No worries at all. So first and foremost, welcome to Out Loud Culture. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Here we are.
So you star in the brand new film, The Blue Rose. Can you tell us a bit about it and who you play?
Yes. So The Blue Rose was written, directed, and produced and co-starring 16-year-old George Barron. It is, a lot of people are calling it a bit of a love letter to David Lynch with its sort of surrealistic style. It's a non-linear format, very much sort of in that nightmare dreamscape where, you know, the story isn't necessarily following a very linear path. It's taking you on different twists and turns. A lot of it evokes emotion, much like surrealistic or abstract art can do. And it was very advantageous for a 15-year-old to conceive of it, one, and then two, pull off, you know, actually producing it at 16. And now at 19, he has distribution through Dark Sky Films, which is really incredible. The second I read the script, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. Not because I knew some, you know, genius kid had, you know, basically put it all together and conceived of it, but I just really responded to the story. I responded to the character of Norma Steele. I love David Lynch. I love that kind of, you know, non-linear dreamscape storytelling where you get to be the person to put the pieces together. And much like the two rookie detectives and that we're following in the movie, you as the audience member get to be a detective who sort of puts the pieces of the film together. So it's an exciting journey.
So how did you initially get involved with The Blue Rose and what drew you to the project?
Well, I got the audition. And I responded to it immediately. The second I read the script, I felt like, you know, I love this kind of storytelling, and I knew it was set in the 1950s. And the character of Norma Steele was a bit of an enigma. She's a bit of a femme fatale socialite. More questions about her than answers. Very regal. And I sort of knew, I've played women like this before, and I sort of knew that she was right in my wheelhouse. So I put myself on, I actually went to a friend of mine's wardrobe place. She has a place called the Last Follies Closet where she has all the old Bob Mackie costumes. And there's even one costume that has L Ball for Lucille Ball, like stitched into the, into like the little neck part of it where the little tag is. And so I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to audition for this and I'm going to sort of evoke that era of film noir, femme fatale, I can't go in my pedestrian, you know, 21st century, you know, wardrobe that I get at the mall. I've got to really evoke and bring this character and present her in a way that's going to inspire the filmmaker. So I went to her closet, got myself a late 50s dress, did the Veronica Lake wave right here on the hair, had the red lips, the red nails, and just absolutely went for it and ended up booking the audition, booking the part. And then we just kind of hit the ground running. It took we got hit with COVID as many productions did. So it took us a more extended time to get all of the production done, all of the filming done. But once we did, they put it together and here we are.
So what was it like working with George Barron and Olivia Welsh on this film?
I got to work with Olivia quite a bit, super professional, great at what she did, obviously a lovely girl. Working with George was I told him I will do any part he wants me to do moving forward. I said, I want him to make me his Sarah Paulson, to Ryan Murphy, where you're always seeing the same cast with Ryan Murphy in the world, in the worlds that he creates with American Horror Story. And George has a real Ryan Murphy aesthetic about him. I mean, it is visual candy. It's like a visual masterpiece again. So forward thinking for, innovative for such a young man. And, he gave us a lot of freedom as actors, being an actor himself. He knew how he appreciated directors' approach of you cast the right person for the part that at the audition shows you they understand the character. And then of course it's just going to grow from there, right? So I think he imbued a lot of trust into the actors to embody these characters and to have a lot of freedom. And there were moments where he gave direction, but it was not, it wasn't a very manipulated hands-on experience. I think for him, he was very focused on the visual aesthetic and how everything was looking and coming together. And so, yeah, we just had a great trust. And he also knew that I did my research and my work on her because she's such an enigma and such a mystery. I took my script and I wrote out Norma's entire backstory, right? Because have you seen the film yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, I'm very excited for you to see it. So, she makes some pretty bold choices in this story, and one could call her the villain. I, of course, think she's the hero of the story. But I had to understand, okay, these choices actually, some people are experiencing pain. Some people are feeling that this is hurting them. Why would Norma do this? Why would a woman do this? What was her backstory? Does she think she's helping or initiating these people in some way? And so I had to fill all that out. So I took my script and I wrote from beginning to end, just like her backstory. And George wants to get it published. He was so tickled. He was like, I can't believe you did so much work on this character. I was like, well, I had to make sense of her somehow, because she's a bit of a riddle, right? So yeah. So working with George, we had a great working relationship. I have been at almost every single film festival with him that our project has, been an official selection for. And it was really great to stand with him last Thursday in Los Angeles at our theatrical premiere and our 1 week theatrical run. It was just a real honor, and it feels like we've been through this whole journey together side by side.
So how did you prepare for this mind-bending alternate reality aspects of the Blue Rose?
Well, yeah, like I said, I had to humanize it and ground it in a way where I understood why Norma was making the choices she did. There's a bit of lore in there because, it kind of goes into a very esoteric realm. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but I don't want to say what those realms are because I don't want to give a spoiler, but there are some esoteric places that this story goes that Norma has her hand in being a part of. So that is not something that is necessarily relatable in our human experience, right? Because here we are on planet Earth, but in your imagination or even on a soul level, on a cellular level, sometimes, people astral project. Sometimes people feel like they were born in the wrong era. Sometimes you get a sense that, deja vu, right? There's these little mysteries and these little magical moments in life that we experience. And so I just allowed that part of the story to take me where it was going. I needed to grounded Norma's choices and why she did what she did and have that make complete sense to me. And of course, justify any darker choices that she made in the project.
So what themes in the movie do you think will resonate most with audiences?
There's this one line that really stuck with me. I'm going to try to not completely. Well, there's two. One line that really helps, I think, people understand the reason why George made it and George's perspective on art in general. And it's a line that says, "Some art is meant to be appreciated, not understood." Okay. So when you think about that, you think about going to like a museum of modern art, right? Not necessarily classicalism or realism, because that would just be like an oil painting of your face or my face, and you go, oh, there's a human being. I recognize that. You go into Picasso, or you go into Dali, or you go into more of that sort of real surrealism and abstractism. And you are affected. You're affected by the color, right? You're affected by the shapes. You're affected by the way it moves on the canvas, or maybe not. Maybe you're like, I don't get it. That's kind of the experience of this film. You're going to be affected by certain aspects. You're going to be affected by certain lines that are going to really land on you. So I've seen it several times. And of course, I've read it several times, but it wasn't until I think the second or third time that it really landed on me. I think it may have been the second time. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if it was when we at our world premiere in London, Fright Fest. It might have been the second, when we were in, where were we? Newfoundland in Canada, and like the really far northern eastern tip of Canada. It was incredible. Where one of the characters says, it's something about the masks. Like, we all wear masks, and we all present different masks at different moments in our lives. So we're all wearing masks, and the question is like, what truth is that hiding? And then I don't want to give any spoilers away, but when I heard that line about, I mean, it's obvious, right? So there's a moment where these people are wearing masks. You can even see it in the trailer. And you think about the different masks we have to wear every day, like who you're presenting yourself as right now, who I'm presenting myself as right now. It might be different than the way that you would present yourself in a different situation with a different family member or a stranger, or on the job, or, with a lover, whatever it is, it's going to be different. But there was this question about like, what are you denying? What are you hiding? And there's a moment toward the end of the film where it made sense to me that if there's a aspect to this story where people are stuck in a realm that might be sort of torturous, there is a way out. And all of a sudden I was like, oh no, you have to take the mask off. You have to stop hiding. You have to stop lying. You have to start telling the truth. You have to, you have to be honest about the choices you've made. Otherwise you're just going to keep reliving them over and over and over again. And like, it made perfect sense to my brain. And I was so excited. And I told George, and he goes, so that's what you think it is? And I'm like, oh, I thought I was so brilliant. I thought I had like solved the riddle. And I think George really wants this to be an immersive experience. He wants you to come up with your own conclusion. And he's tickled when you get to share with him what you think it's all about. So
you played a wide range of roles across different genres. How do you choose your projects?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like working. Actors like working. And there are certain projects that have come across my desk where I just was like, that's not for me. Either maybe it's too violent, or, too satanic or too demonic. I can't, I pushed the edge with Insidious Chapter 2, playing the mother of death. It was, I got to work with a master like James Wan, and up against Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne.
Don't you dare! Speak the truth. Did you?
Barbara Hershey, who's like one of my childhood heroes. And so that was really a gift, but it did affect me in a very palpable way. And so I have to be, I'm sensitive to that kind of thing, and I had to be a little bit careful. But any story, really, I think I'm drawn to stories where there is a transformation, which actually is completely antithetical to what happens in the Blue Rose. Because in the Blue Rose, at the end of the film, you get to decide, kind of like when you're watching a Nolan film, right? You're watching Inception, and at the end, he twists the top on the table, and it spin, and it looks like it's about to teeter and fall over, and then he cuts to black, and then you get to decide, like, was he in her reality? Was he in reality? And it kind of excites you as an audience member, and you're like talking, you're like, wait, what was it? Oh, I think it was this. Oh, I think it was this. And it really activates your audience, right? I think it adheres an audience to become a follower of you as a filmmaker, as an auteur, as a storyteller, because they really enjoy being an active participant, so I really enjoy that. But I think the most, like, you can say, if there's an ethos or a pathos, if there's a takeaway at the end of a film, if you see a character at the top, the before picture of a character, you know, where they're stuck, something's not working, there's a choice they're making that's kind of destroying their life, and you sort of watch them go through their transformation. It's really exciting, I think, to see that aha moment where a different choice is made and then a different reality is created. I just think that's such a powerful thing in life. I think that's a very powerful thing to experience, and quite often easy to not get there because easy to be stuck in patterns that keep you self-destructive. So when we get to see these heroes, whether it's a comedy or a horror or a drama, a period piece, you know, even a documentary or a mockumentary, it's just really fun to see that character change. And I think that those are the narratives that I'm the most drawn to, that have that clear definition for the person that you're investing in for like what, an hour and 45 minutes. So I say yes to a lot of different genres, but I typically like to know that there's going to be some takeaway at the end.
So what inspired you to pursue a career in acting and entertainment? What drew you to it?
I mean, it's always been in my blood. It's in my family. There are a lot of, my dad was a child actor, my actors everywhere, writers, directors, producers, singers, entrepreneurs. And so it being in my blood, I just, you know, I think I was 4 years old when I saw The Wizard of Oz for the first time, and immediately afterward, like, drug my whole family into the backyard and reenacted the entire like movie, maybe in like 5 minutes, right? And I played Dorothy, and I was sort of directing it. Maybe at that age, I can't, you know, like, you know, you stand here and I have my little basket and my little stuffed animal Toto was inside of it. And I think at that time it was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to live inside these worlds. I want to embody these characters, to bring a little magic, to bring some, you know, to relate with the human experience. And as we all know, in The Wizard of Oz, which has been an archetype film that has informed so many narratives. I learned the craft of acting. I got my Bachelor of Arts at Cal State Fullerton and UC Irvine. I was also a musical theater major and acting for the camera. And it was always that. There was never, I mean, I suppose if I wasn't in anything creative, maybe I'd be a lawyer, because I play them a lot on TV, a lot, which is fun. But yeah, it was just, it was always in me.
So what advice would you give to aspiring actors and filmmakers?
Well, listen, if you love it enough, you're going to go on the journey, and everyone's journey looks different, right?
You were actually nominated for a BAFTA for your role in God of War. What was that like?
Indeed. Oh, it was the greatest honor ever. I mean, you know, you have a list of things you want to happen: Academy Award, Emmy, Tony, BAFTA, you know, because that's a marker of excellence, right? So it's a marker of being a player and achieving a level where your work, first of all, is being seen, which is incredible, right? Because, you know, I say this, I was nominated for a BAFTA twice for Freya. One, it was written to perfection. It was clearly one of the best written video games of all time. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. It's won every award. It's been recognized, right? And there are other ones out there for sure. It's an incredible space. I will do anyone's video game unless it's too violent. Won't do that. But it's such a great space of innovators and writers and storytellers. So yes, the BAFTA, it was written to perfection. I was ready for it as an actor. My life story, my experience as an actress led me to this moment of booking a role where I was able to just open up and give everything in such a visceral, truthful, embodied way that my performance affected the people that were watching and playing the game in a palpable way. And I was being recognized for my ability and ability to do that. But so that's the second part. Then the third part is the game was so elevated and so in the eye, you know, in the eye line of everyone in that space, right? The press pieces on it, the anticipation on it, the fan base of it, the way the studio, Sony Santa Monica, Sony Entertainment, you know, studios, the way that they promoted it. So I got to ride the wave but I wasn't resting on my coattails. I was rising to meet the challenge and giving all that I had, literally all that I had to this role. And it afforded me a nomination twice, which is, I don't know if you can see in the background, little wings on the wall. That's my Freya. Yeah. And I got my 2 BAFTA noms, mounted there in a frame and matted. Very proud of them. And, it's just a reminder of accomplishment from inside a long journey, and in a role that has given me a huge platform and a great fan base who I call my family, and great family who I got to co-create it with. So yeah, the BAFTAs are my little cherry on top. 2 cherries.
So how does your work in video games compare to your work in film and television? I would imagine they're quite different.
Well, they're different technically speaking, but the technical aspect on how you capture it and then how it's being translated on the screen is a bit different. I guess you could say it's a lot like Avatar, though. So I guess it is similar to some films we've seen, or any sort of CGI character like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, where you're wearing the full mocap suit.
To be honest, I don't think I can do either.
Right? And then there's a camera in your face, and there's cameras everywhere, and you got the dots on your face, and every expression's being recorded and then animated. So it's really performance capture. It's a little different than just being in a voiceover booth. However, being in a voiceover booth, there's one principle that applies to all of it. You must be telling the truth. You must be feeling it as the actor, bodying it, and the words coming out truthfully. Otherwise, you're phoning it in. It doesn't really, you kind of like, wasn't really moved by that performance. I mean, you could be playing the most heinous, awful, horrible character ever. You bring a little vulnerability to them. You bring the humanity to them. You tell the truth from that point of view. You're going to feel that character. You're going to be like, wow, I really felt that actor. So the golden thread through all of it, no matter what format you're on, television, whether it's a comedy or a drama or a single camera comedy, whatever, any genre in film, and then the space of video games. As an actor, you have to do the same thing. It's just technically going to be different.
So can you tell us about your production company, Perfect Timing Productions, and its mission?
Yes, I'm going to show you something. So I put this. This is not a work of art by any stretch of the imagination, but I have this here in front of me on my desk. Everything happens in perfect timing. I did that because it's really hard to trust the timing of things, isn't it? Like sometimes we just want things sooner. We think things are going to happen in a different way, and life is a bit of a mystery. There are certain things we're in control of, and many things that we are not. I have a faith in God, so I believe that there's a timing and there's an orchestration to all of this, that it doesn't disempower me. It just lets me know, oh, okay, I'm in control of these set things. And then there's the magic that happens that I cannot explain, that none of us can explain. So right before I got True Jackson VP, really the impetus for my company, the origin was I was really, really sick and tired of how many taxes were being taken out of my paycheck. That's what was going on. I called my stepdad, who was my tax consultant, and I said, how am I going to get ahead? We live in California. This is ridiculous. So much is being taken out of all of these guest star parts. I was recurring on the OC, and I was recurring on all these great shows. And I was like, this really sucks. And he said, well, maybe it's time to incorporate yourself and, become a corporation and be able to manage taxes a little bit differently and be able to afford more write-offs, because as an actor or any business owner, you have certain write-offs. Well, the hair, the skin, the nails, the wardrobe, the driving to auditions at that time when we drove to them, and so on and so forth, the gym membership to stay fit, to stay healthy, all of it. So I said, oh, well, that sounds great. Let's try that. And we were talking about this literally right before I booked Amanda Cantwell on True Jackson VP. So in my mind, I go, oh, this is perfect timing. That's what I thought. And so I was like, oh yeah, Perfect Timing Productions. And then it kind of took a life on its own. So I had it in me. And then eventually it was like, oh, okay, this is going to be something bigger, and I want to produce and my own stuff that I've written or other people's things, and collaboration is one of my favorite things. And so yeah, it took on its own life.
So what projects are you currently working on through Perfect Timing Productions?
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, so through my company, well, I will just share one project that is taking very important meetings right now with some distribution companies that was not produced by my production company, but I was able to be a co-executive producer on it. It's called Hollywood Heist, and it was written and directed, produced, and co-starring Mike Hatton. His company's Ton of Hats, and he's most notable for his role in Green Book, which was an Academy Award-winning film, an incredible film. It is an action comedy, and it is a star-packed ensemble cast with Nick Cannon, Alec Baldwin, Mickey Rourke, Tara Reid, Patrick Warburton, Gary Busey, Carrot Top. I mean, it's crazy. This cast is insane. And I get to play one of the ensemble. Paul Sloan is also one of the leads in it, playing a very hilarious character that I get to play, an ex-girlfriend too. And I get to sing one of my own original songs in it. Actually a song I wrote in my 20s. So it was this really great opportunity to come in as a co-EP and play this great role called the Queen. And I'm this burlesque singer, and I'm in this nightclub, and I got to sing one of my own original songs I wrote all the way back when I was 23. It was amazing how you see perfect timing, right? Like I wrote this song, I was like, it needs to be in a movie. I remember when I wrote it, I was like, this is a musical number, all my musical theaters. And I was like, I need to perform it. And then, how many years later, 20 years later or so, maybe even more, because I wrote it at 23, like 24 years later. I'm not great at math, but you get the idea. All of a sudden now it's found its way into a project that I could have never imagined. It wasn't the purpose of writing it, but there it was. It found its home. So I'm very excited about that. And we are taking some meetings with some different distribution companies, some very high, very notable high-end production companies that if I said their names, you know them. I just can't say them just yet. So that's that. And then now my production company is this fall going to be producing an original that I wrote called Wake Me. And the tagline is, what if you've been sleepwalking your whole life? And it is a psychological thriller horror drama. There's definitely some suspense in there. And it treats sleepwalking as a metaphor to that which we are unconscious to in our waking world. So the unconsciousness is there because of trauma from the childhood. And my thesis is, when we don't actually eradicate and heal those traumas, they live in the subconscious, and in that watery realm of the subconscious, a monster can be created, and the monster is you. The monster is me. And that monster comes out and causes havoc in your life. You hurt yourself, and you hurt the ones you love, and you hurt others. So we go on a journey with a man named Everett, and we follow this journey of him attempting to heal, but he's also battling up against his own inner monster. He's also a graphic novelist, so the monster actually personifies. So it's a little bit of a monster in the house horror psychological thriller, and it goes in and out of dreamscape. So it is a little bit in the sense of Lynchian or Nolan, where Jordan Peele, I think of Guillermo del Toro. I'm thinking of, the Babadook, right? The Babadook, right? Because she's an Aussie. Incredible, right? And of course, it's connected to the tension and turmoil between, the way the mother's depression is affecting him and the lack of the father. And it's been a while since I've seen it, and I want to bastardize her story, but I just remembered that it was the personification of this book and this child's fear and the pain he was experiencing. And that was an informative film. So yeah, I can say that we are in talks with actor Ed Spielers. He's a British actor. If you've seen Picard or Downton Abbey or Outlander or the TV series You will know him well. He plays very complex, darker characters, but always imbues them with a lot of humanity, vulnerability. And he's very intriguing. And I got first turned on to him by Downton Abbey and then Outlander, which I'm a huge fan of. He played a very surly character called Stephen Bonnet, a bit of a sociopath, actually. And then he just did a rom-com with cutie redhead whose name I'm Lindsay Lohan, and it was for Netflix, and which was really exciting to see him actually just sort of playing a more charming, very lighthearted character, because he'd always been playing these very intense characters, which is fantastic. So his star is like on the rise, incredible. I mean, if you've seen these shows, you know how talented he is. And we've made an offer, and I had a great Zoom with him, and we've been talking, and he wants to play my lead role, Everett, and I'm very excited about it. So we're making offers this week. We're intending to shoot in Spain in the fall, and yeah, this is the most exciting project of my life, because obviously, having written it and then directing it, but also I put so much of my own experience and my own healing work through therapy in this piece as I was writing it. And it has developed, since 2019, the script has developed and matured. And my hope is that when people watch it, I don't just want to terrify them. I want to terrify them into making some changes in their life, to addressing those aspects of themselves that they've swept under the rug that really don't ever quite go away. So it's just an exploration in that. And I'm curious how it's going to affect audiences. So I'm very excited.
So can you tell us about your band and the kind of music you create?
Oh man, what did I miss? 'Cause I'm tired, broken down, uninspired. There's not a soul around. Deliver me from this state I'm in, trudging down this road to nowhere once again.
That band is so old. I don't have a band anymore, but I will tell you, yes, I write music. I pursued it heavily in my 20s. Played around, like I played it, Sarah Bareilles and I would be at the Temple Bar in Santa Monica, and she'd be playing with her band and I'd be playing with mine. The doors that opened for me more were in the world of TV and film. However, I have always continued to write music. Like I wrote a song that is going to be in Hollywood Heist. I wrote a song called The Blue Rose for the Blue Rose. The excerpt of my chorus made it into the overture of the score of the piece. And George and I are going to do a music video for it, sort of a companion piece, because he also wrote an original song for the movie. So I get very inspired by these characters I play, and a way into a lot of these complex characters for me is by a soundtrack. So I'll put a soundtrack together for every character, and it sort of informs the emotional life, like on a cellular level, of this human being. You think about your life, a song will bring you back to high school, bring you back to childhood, bring you back to your first kiss or your first love. And so music can really evoke emotion and memory, which is why I use it for these more complex characters. Not every character gets a song, but Norma got a song, and so I have written quite a few songs for feature films or short films that I've been in. And I have a handful of music videos that I've created, and my songs are, you can find them on iTunes or you can find them on Spotify. And I'll continue to write. I just moved to Atlanta, and I'm like, I want to be in a band, but I want it to be half cover and then half originals, because I just really want to be singing Led Zeppelin, to be honest with you. That's really all I want. I love Led Zeppelin so much. And I'm always crashing, whenever there's a live band, I'm like, do you guys know Black Dog? Because I can come and sing it. So just for fun, I think it would be fun to create a band experience and get up on stage and play my guitar or piano, or ukulele, or just, sing. And so that might be on the horizon. But there will be a music video called The Blue Rose coming soon. So
how has the industry changed since you first started, and how have you adapted?
Ooh, that is a big question. The industry is always sort of changing by trends. So there are certain trends that are happening. You may or may not fit the bill for what that trend is. The only way to adapt to an industry, I think, that is so mercurial and unforgiving in some areas, is that if you know who you are and you continue to be open and grow, and then most importantly, don't allow somebody's no to define you, then you can absolutely continue doing what you love. And this, I can circle this back and link it to your earlier question of like, what advice I would give is, if you love it enough, you're never going to quit, because it is who you are. And I would say innovate and create your own experiences, create your own content in any capacity that you can do. I say everybody has a cell phone, and a camera. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have the most expensive gear, but find your tribe, find your people. Chances are, if you're an actress, you'll probably know someone who knows how to work a camera, or other actors, or someone who wanted to direct, or someone in your group probably can write. Maybe it's you. Everybody has a story to tell, sometimes multiple stories to tell. Start with what you know, write what you know. They say that's the most effective thing. Of course, then from there you branch off. Like, you can become a Stephen King if you want to, a George R. So it doesn't really matter, if you're making it truthful and relatable, and these characters and the story, like, it's going to affect people. And you know what? And even if it doesn't, if it's just something you got to do it. It's going to give you confidence. It's going to feed your soul. And it's going to, that accomplishment really is a self-esteem builder. Study the craft. If you want to do it right, understand what you're doing. I always say, get a mentor, get a couple mentors, take a few classes. Education's super important, but also just the action of doing. And then, you get yourself an agent or manager, you go on auditions, you get the part, you don't get the part, and most importantly, get into therapy. This is the whole thing. Like, be autonomous in your life, have sovereignty, know that these trends that happen, you look a certain way, and, you're booking it like this, and then all of a sudden it's this, and then you're not working at all, or whatever. Not, you know this person, and it's getting thing. You don't know anybody. You're not in the club. You're not in the top tier agencies. You're over here. You're over there. You can have money for a publicist. You're getting PR. You don't have money for a publicist. No one knows where you're at. It's such a mind fuck. It can completely decimate your soul if you let it. And there's a lot of resources and actions that you can do to protect yourself, because you're an artist, you're sensitive, you're a human, you're sensitive. So have a good base of people that love you and support you. Make sure you understand who those people are, and people that aren't that, then maybe it's time just to lovingly let them go and do what you love and keep doing it and don't care. I mean, what's so great about George? He's gotten such love and such hate. He's gotten both. He's gotten such mixed reviews. Oh my God, genius. Oh my God, this kid, who does he think he is? Trying to mimic David Lynch, or, whatever it is. And people will try to tear you down. Okay, that hurts, but you know what? You just pick yourself up and dust off. You gotta keep going forward.
So what has been the most rewarding aspect of your career so far?
Well, I would say Freya. The level of that game, the level of the quality that was presented and given to me, and then the quality that I met it with, was really empowering, and felt great to feel that coming out of me for her. Never have I felt more intertwined with the character in my life, and the level of excellence that everyone brought, and from actors to sound to that to writing. I can't, every department at Sony Santa Monica Studios, incredible human beings. So grateful, love all of them. That affording me 2 BAFTA nominations, and that platform and the fan base to now be curious. What is Danielle up to? Obviously, the first time that really impactfully would have been True Jackson VP. It was my first series, and I interfaced with fans then. But now, that was back in 2008, 2009, 2010, where social media had, Facebook had just sort of come onto the scene.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, both professionally and personally?
Well, personally, those are my secrets. Professionally, I will say writing and directing more, perhaps acting in some of my projects. With Wake Me, I at first thought I was going to play the role of Autumn, who's the wife to the lead character, Everett. But I realized, just by sort of seeing how, I have a short film called Little May, where I co-wrote, produced, directed, and then had a small part in. And it was fine. It was a smaller part. It was a lot of hats to wear. And I think that coming out with my first feature film, my feature-length film, I want to be not wearing so many hats. I want to stay focused. I want to serve the project and the story so greatly and with such intention that if I'm also thinking about how to be inside the scene as one character, I can't be outside of it with like an objective point of view and holding space for all of these characters, you know, and everything to hit its mark. It's kind of, I mean, at one point I think I will, and I think I'll do it masterfully. I think I'll do it great. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm ready to really serve the piece as a director. So I see myself writing and producing and directing, and you know, they are making a God of War TV series at Amazon. I'm sure you've heard about this or not, but I absolutely want to play my role of Freya. I'm not afraid to say it. Let's just be bold in life. There's like, I absolutely want to play my part on television, and it would be fantastic. I'm ready for that. I would absolutely love to have the opportunity for my image and likeness in real time to be playing out this role that I know so well. And that has really changed my life, and that I feel that I can give more to. So we shall see about that. I'm super happy to get into another series. You know, I am auditioning, but the thing that's really on my plate right now, of course, is getting prepared to shoot my movie Wake Me in Spain in the fall. And if anything comes in between now and then, great, or after that, great, but that right now is my focus. I've written about 14 projects the past 13 years, and I have a lot of great co-writers. Some of them have just been mine that I've written, and a lot of them are with phenomenal co-writers. And there's one, her name is Amber Henley. She and I went to high school together, and we've created a web series called Damsels, and our goal is to get that completed and out by the end of this year. And we want to create a buzz about it and a fan base about it, because we'd love to see it turned into a TV series. Now, we wrote it back in 2013 we started. So we are now probably too old to play these characters. We're on the other side of who these women are, which is great because now we have the perspective of all these years. But we are so passionate about the narrative of these women, and, you know, these women that are finding their way in the modern world. And it's a dark comedy, so it's a lot of fun. So yeah, so I think it's really focusing on innovation and original content, and also nurturing relationships with all the directors and writers I've worked with, and perhaps they'll have a new project that I'll be right for, or there'll be somebody new. I audition for someone new and make other great relationships. I'm so grateful for all the ones that I've cultivated to this point, and ready and open for more.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for chatting to us. We really, really appreciate it. It's bye for now, but we really, really hope you'll join us again. Thank you so much.
Oh, I would love to, and I'll have to come visit you next time I'm down under.
Please do. Please do.
You've been so kind.
Thank you so much.